Welcome to the Democrat and Chronicles digital studios. I'm James Johnson, along with Stevie Johnson, and we are smack dab in the middle of the Section 5 boys basketball tournaments. I want to bore right in on what I think is one of the more interesting classifications, AA.
Well, tomorrow they start our quarterfinal matchups, and next week we'll be in the Blue Cross for the semifinals and the finals. This was the class, I think, we have a couple teams at the top that I think we all thought will kind of contend for those semifinal spots, but it seemed like it was a wide open class, and already the tournament's already started. Hilton with Niagara commit Tajay Hill, they were a team that they got arguably the best player in Section 5 that you thought that they'll have a chance to win any game with him, but they got bounced first round by Edison, the team we'll talk about in a minute. So this is a wide open class. I think this one and maybe B1 might be the most competitive classes so far in sections.
Yeah, and I think what that's going to mean is some pretty good crowd sizes for these quarterfinal games. Speaking of upsets, I mean, how did you view Fairport's victory over Aquinas? The game was at Aquinas.
I wouldn't necessarily call it an upset just because Aquinas is just one of those teams. I think they beat UPrep, they beat McQuaid, but we also saw that this is a team that had some losses to some teams with lesser talent. So I had Aquinas as my dark horse team in kind of our playoff previews. They had the talent to make a run, but to see them get bounced by Fairport in the first round, I wasn't even necessarily surprised because that seems like the type of season they've had this year.
Yeah, Fairport, once again, a strong dose of defense. They get another crack at Victor, the #1 seed, a team that went undefeated up until its very last regular season game.
And I want to say, some people, I think it might differ depending on who you talk to. Some people think it's a good idea, not a good idea, but it's actually not the worst thing in the world to have a long losing streak snap before you start the postseason. We'll find that out when these two teams play. I wouldn't be surprised if it's low scoring. Victor's another team, prides itself on defense. 6'4" CJ James from Greece Olympia, 7-foot kid Connor Williams in the middle of their zone. So I think Victor should advance, but what did they play, like 2 times already this year?
Yeah.
Beating the team 3 times is difficult. Yeah. Very difficult.
I was going to say, I was going to ask you if you kind of believe in that adage. I really don't, but who knows? That's what makes it so exciting. The thing with Victor is they just kind of say we don't really care what anyone says. That theme kind of comes up this time of year. We just all do our jobs, but they make sure they play that defense.
Yeah.
Next, we'll go to McQuaid, the 2-time defending champions. I mean, a very quiet season for a 2-time defending champion, in my mind. And this is with a win over East.
Yeah, I think they start the season off. I think people might have written them off because they started the season, I think, 2-6 or something like that, somewhere around there. They closed the year, I think, like 11-1, including that win over East. So I put them in the favorites to win the tournament. Kobe Long, Jermaine Taggart, one of the best duos in the section when their chemistry, is flowing right. Yeah. They got some complementary pieces. They also chip in Ruben Daniel, Darren Blocker. So I know Thomas has Andrew Mason. I think, didn't they have a game? They almost maybe hit 23 pointers in the game. So with Mason and those 3-pointers, three-pointer, I do believe in the adage 3-pointer is the biggest equalizer in the sport. So if Mason and company can get hot, maybe they can make this interesting, but I just don't see how the Titans can contain Taggart that long.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because Webster Thomas has kind of revitalized itself in the second half of the season. They've had some seniors kind of step up, playing their roles, like Victor says, do your job, especially Donnie Palmer. But we'll go on to UPrep, another team, oodles of talent, very quiet season. Coach Stewart, Naman Stewart, he hasn't seen a complete game by them yet, but what do you think about their chances of going on and on?
Well, at the beginning of the season, I would have told you, I thought that was the team that's going to win. They kind of cooled off a little bit, but they're another team. They have a lot of close losses to leadership once or twice, maybe even the game. They lost to Aquinas in the season finale. I think that was a little bit of a head scratcher, but I don't know how big they are, but they do have 3 dynamic wings with Melvin Council, Kayshawn Ross, and Nazaya Fawkes. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. Apologize if I'm not. So, Gates, I think Gates is a team I think we were a little more excited about at the conclusion of last season.
Yes.
They did pick up a win in the opening round, but I think this is a game I think UPrep should kind of handle if they play up to their standards.
Yeah, Gates Chili is one of the, I think, 3 surprise teams kind of popping up here in the classification. You know, the film you see is them playing in McQuaid, and that was a lopsided loss. They've had a hard time getting everything together. It's been a season of change, new coach. Maybe some players haven't really developed like we thought they would, but they got a Section 5 tournament win.
Yeah.
So another surprise team is Edison from the city school district. They played McQuaid pretty tough earlier in the regular season, but here they are in the quarterfinals. I'm going to be honest, I'm an alum, and I didn't expect them to have a victory in the tournament.
Yeah, they beat Hilton. I think that was definitely an upset, and the team they're going to face, Rush Henrietta, I think there's another team that's been kind of quiet, but they picked up, RH picked up that big one over Leadership. I think in the season finale, or maybe the last game before that, it's Javante Williams' kid. I haven't seen him yet, but I've heard some pretty good things. So RH is a team, they got to feel like, hey, we can get past Edison, probably face U Prep in the semifinals. They could be, probably a team at the beginning of the season we didn't think would make it all the way to the Blue Cross for the final, but they have a path. Like you said, U Prep hasn't necessarily put together a complete game yet, and this team, they can beat a team like Leadership. I think they beat Hilton twice. They play Victor tough, so this RH team looks like this is one of the best teams they had in a couple years.
Yeah, I got a big smile on my face because I want to see how it all unfolds. Come on back to DemocratandChronicle.com.